When the human resources manager folded her hands across the polished conference table and said, "A promotion isn't something employees negotiate for, it's something management decides," Maya Lawson realized she had finally reached the end of her patience instead of the end of her ambition. She quietly slid the thick binder she had prepared back into her bag, smiled with remarkable composure despite months of frustration pressing against her chest, and walked out knowing she would never again beg people to recognize work they had happily accepted while pretending someone else deserved the credit. For nearly 3 exhausting years at a large software services company in Seattle, Maya had become the invisible engineer who quietly prevented disasters before anyone else even realized they existed, rebuilding broken automation, recovering corrupted databases, calming furious clients, and correcting expensive mistakes that were routinely blamed on outside vendors instead of poor leadership decisions. While executives celebrated meaningless productivity dashboards and department heads spent hours discussing presentation colors instead of solving technical problems, Maya stayed long after sunset tracing hidden bugs through ancient systems until she finally uncovered a billing failure that had silently drained almost $30,000 every month. Yet the only reward she received was another reminder to remain grateful for the opportunity. That disappointing meeting became the turning point of her career because, instead of arguing with management or complaining to coworkers, Maya quietly returned home, brewed herself a cup of tea, opened her neglected professional networking profile, and began reconnecting with clients whose emergencies she had personally resolved over the years without ever receiving public recognition. Within days, one message stood out from the dozens arriving in her inbox when an operations executive from Horizon Biomedical Solutions thanked her for solving a catastrophic data synchronization failure months earlier and invited her to visit their headquarters for what he described as an informal conversation about future possibilities, a phrase that carried far more respect than anything she had heard inside her own office. The meeting exceeded every expectation because the Horizon leadership team had already investigated their own service records and discovered that Maya's name consistently appeared beside every successful recovery, every satisfied customer, and every major technical breakthrough, while her employer's managers had repeatedly claimed those achievements belonged to departmental teamwork rather than one determined professional. Instead of questioning whether she deserved greater responsibility, Horizon asked how she would redesign their entire infrastructure if given complete authority. And by the end of the afternoon, they offered her a senior strategic position with nearly twice her salary, flexible leadership responsibilities, and an opportunity to supervise the upcoming technology assessment involving her former employer. Although signing the offer would have been easy, Maya deliberately waited because she understood that timing often mattered more than emotion, spending her evenings studying old documentation, rebuilding system diagrams from memory, and preparing detailed recommendations that would help Horizon modernize years of neglected infrastructure before the formal partnership review even began. As executives, they gradually witnessed her extraordinary ability to untangle impossible technical puzzles with calm precision instead of excuses. They stopped treating her like an outside advisor and started including her in confidential planning sessions where long-term technology strategy, compliance concerns, and vendor accountability were openly discussed. Meanwhile, life inside her old office continued exactly as before, because supervisors still assigned Maya routine administrative work. While assuming she lacked leadership potential, coworkers unknowingly depended upon tools she alone understood, and human resources never once reconsidered the conversation that had quietly pushed away their most valuable employee. Every compliment remained directed toward louder personalities who excelled at meetings instead of results, while Maya calmly stored her resignation letter inside a private folder on her laptop, waiting for the exact moment when leaving would create the greatest professional impact without requiring a single dramatic confrontation. That opportunity arrived several weeks later when Horizon officially asked Maya to become Director of Technology Assurance and lead an independent operational review of every service provider connected to their rapidly expanding network, including the very company that had dismissed her request for fair compensation without bothering to evaluate the evidence she had presented. She accepted the position, completed her notice period with complete professionalism, documented only what was necessary for a proper transition, thanked supportive colleagues sincerely, and quietly walked out of the building, carrying nothing except a backpack, a notebook, and the confidence that comes from knowing your future no longer depends upon people who underestimated you. The first morning she returned to the same office building as Horizon's lead auditor felt almost surreal because the familiar reception desk, security gates, and conference rooms remained unchanged while everything about her professional identity had transformed beyond recognition. Employees who had barely acknowledged her existence suddenly paused mid-conversation as they noticed her executive visitor credentials, and even senior managers who once hurried past her workstation now greeted her with nervous politeness after realizing she had arrived to evaluate processes rather than participate in them. Inside the opening review meeting, Maya calmly outlined the assessment schedule before requesting infrastructure documentation, access logs, security certifications, vendor contracts, and historical maintenance records spanning the previous 18 months, explaining every requirement with measured professionalism instead of personal satisfaction. As executives reluctantly provided files, it quickly became clear that years of neglected governance had produced serious weaknesses, including outdated authentication procedures, poorly documented software changes, excessive administrator privileges, and compliance reports that had never actually been verified despite repeated claims to the contrary. Over the following days, Maya's investigation uncovered layer after layer of operational negligence supported by emails, archived approvals, forgotten maintenance requests, and time-stamped technical records that painted a far more troubling picture than anyone expected, leaving legal advisors and financial officers increasingly concerned about the organization's exposure to regulatory penalties. Rather than humiliating individuals, Maya carefully documented every observation with objective evidence, explaining exactly how each overlooked decision increased business risk while offering practical solutions that demonstrated genuine leadership instead of revenge, making Horizon's executives even more confident that hiring her had been one of their smartest decisions. As news of the audit spread throughout the industry, several former co-workers quietly contacted Maya, seeking career advice because uncertainty inside the company had grown rapidly after major clients began questioning service quality and long-ignored operational failures finally demanded immediate attention. Recognizing talented professionals who had simply lacked supportive leadership, Maya recommended several deserving candidates for new positions at Horizon, helping build an exceptional team founded upon accountability, collaboration, and technical excellence rather than office politics or empty promises. Eventually, Horizon concluded that continuing its partnership with Maya's previous employer posed unacceptable operational and compliance risks, officially ending the long-standing contract before launching an entirely new technology governance division led by Maya herself, whose reputation for honesty and precision had earned widespread respect across the organization. During the department's inaugural executive strategy meeting, she presented a forward-looking improvement plan focused not on assigning blame, but on building resilient systems, transparent leadership practices, continuous employee development, and a workplace culture where meaningful contributions would never again remain invisible, simply because the wrong people received the applause. Success brought Maya something far more valuable than a prestigious title or a larger paycheck because it proved that consistent integrity, quiet excellence, and unwavering professionalism ultimately create opportunities that arrogance and favoritism can never permanently suppress, leaving her grateful not for the obstacles she endured, but for the strength they revealed within her character. Please subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family. We create entertaining and inspiring stories for our viewers, and your support helps us continue making great content for you.